Hello and welcome to today's webinar, hosted by Food Ingredients First and sponsored by Glambi Ireland. I'm Eve Mulcahy, Product Manager at Glambi Ireland Ingredients, and I will be today's moderator. The webinar is entitled Milk Proteins, the single source solution to achieve functional and nutritional benefits in food and beverages. It will focus on the functionality of milk proteins compared with caseinate and plant protein during the manufacturing process, in the end product, and in food and beverage applications. I'm joined today by our beverage expert, Gráinne Dollard, Technical Manager at Glambi Ireland. She will provide technical insights into the functionality of Solubility milk proteins compared with caseinate and plant proteins during the manufacturing process. She will focus on key functionalities such as dispersibility, hydration, heat stability, viscosity, shelf life, and much more. Glambi Ireland chef Barry Foley will demonstrate how milk proteins can be added to everyday foods to spread the consumption of protein throughout the day. Noel Larkin, Head of Market Insights and Research, will take you through trends in this area supplied by Innova Market Insights. And finally, John O'Donnell, Head of Specialised Nutrition, will talk about Glambi Ireland, our portfolio of milk protein ingredients. I would like to note that there will be time to address any questions you may have at the end of the webinar in a live Q&A with our speakers. This webinar will also be available on demand on foodingredientsfirst.com, and a link will be sent to you after the session concludes. I'll now hand you over to Gráinne, who will demonstrate the technical functionality of Solubility milk proteins versus caseinate and plant proteins for key functionalities in the manufacturing process and in end products.
Hello, my name is Gráinne Dollard, and it is my pleasure to be here with you today. High protein foods has been a growing trend for a number of years, driven by health-conscious consumers seeking out high protein foods to support their active lifestyles. In addition to the needs of the active consumer, there is a growing challenge of protein malnutrition amongst elderly consumers, which has driven growth in the clinical nutrition category. With this increased demand for protein-rich foods come challenges for manufacturers. Different protein sources perform differently during the manufacturing process, which makes the functionality of protein very important. We will demonstrate the functionality of milk proteins compared with other protein sources during the manufacturing process, in the end product, and in food and beverage applications. Today I will demonstrate to you how Glambi Solubility milk proteins perform versus caseinate and plant proteins, both in the manufacturing process and in the final product. I will focus on dispersibility, hydration, heat stability, viscosity and shelf life stability. Okay, let's start with dispersibility. Dispersibility is the ease with which powder particles disperse into single particles and uniformly distribute on contact with water. Dispersibility is important in the manufacture of high protein products to ensure no balling up or lumping of powder, resulting in difficulties in process and in the final product. First, I will mix Solubility milk protein concentrate. To demonstrate dispersibility of our Solubility milk proteins versus caseinate and plant proteins, I will add powder to hot water at 50 degrees and mix for 30 seconds before passing through a sieve. Now I will mix the sodium caseinate. As you can see, there is significant balling up and very poor dispersibility. Now I will mix calcium caseinate. As you can see, there is some small balling up and lumping of product. Now I will mix soy protein isolate. As you can see, dispersibility is improved with reduced balling up but some lumps present. Solubility milk protein demonstrates superior levels of dispersibility versus caseinate and soy proteins, with reduced balling up on mixing and a clean appearance after passing through the sieve. The excellent dispersibility of Solubility milk protein concentrate can also be demonstrated under high shear conditions, which is a typical manufacturing step and one we recommend for dispersion of our milk protein concentrates and isolates. As you can see, Salmico milk protein is completely dispersed after high shear mixing and demonstrates a clean appearance without lumps. Now I will mix sodium caseinate. In comparison, sodium caseinate demonstrates reduced dispersibility with obvious lumping up under the same high shear conditions. After the high protein powder has been fully dispersed, the next challenge a manufacturer will meet is hydration. Powder hydration or solubility is critical to achieving maximum functionality of high protein powders. For example, heat stability, in-process and final viscosity, and also shelf life stability. Solubility can be defined by the amount of protein which goes into solution and is not sedimented out by centrifugation. There is typically an inverse relationship between solubility and protein content. After the dispersion of our Salmico milk proteins, we recommend a hydration step for a minimum of 30 minutes at 50 degrees. Solubility can be demonstrated through a reduction in particle size as powder particles become rehydrated, moving from right to left in the graph, but also by looking at sediment post-centrifugation, which I will demonstrate for you today. Salmico milk protein demonstrates excellent solubility with no sedimentation and can be compared to caseinates and soy protein isolates, which show significantly greater sediment and hence reduced solubility under the same conditions. Let's move on to heat stability. Heat stability is a critical functionality in application of high protein powders for consumer products. Heat treatment can range in severity from pasteurization to UHT to retort conditions. Salmico milk protein is stable across all these heat treatment processes. It maintains a low viscosity before and after heat treatment, a clean appearance without flecks, sediment or gelation. Heat stability can be tested using various methods at lab scale, including oil bath, rheometer, and in an autoclave. Today I will demonstrate the heat stability of Salmico milk protein versus caseinate and soy proteins following heat treatment to 121 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes in an autoclave. Protein concentration is 5%. Salmico milk protein concentrate demonstrates a very clean appearance, no sediment, no flecks or any sign of heat-induced aggregation under a very severe heat treatment test. This can be compared to caseinate and soy proteins, which demonstrate visible flecking and obvious signs of aggregates. As you can see, Salmico milk protein concentrate shows a very clean appearance on the glass, while soy protein isolate shows the appearance of flecks and obvious signs of heat instability. Now I would like to talk about viscosity. Viscosity is important both in process and in product. Typically, as protein concentration increases, so can product viscosity. This creates a challenge for manufacturers in the development of high protein products such as beverages. To demonstrate the low viscosity of our Salmico milk proteins, I will present 3 different samples. Firstly, a hydrated Salmico milk protein solution before heat treatment at 5% protein. Viscosity of Glambi Salmico milk protein is low, free-flowing, without stickiness or glass cling. A protein-fortified milk beverage with 5% protein from Salmico MPC. Glambi Salmico milk protein demonstrates no change in viscosity before and after heat treatment. And lastly, a concept complete nutrition or clinical nutrition beverage with 10% protein from Salmico MPI. Salmico milk protein maintains a low, easy flow, drinkable viscosity before and after heat treatment in this complex, high protein, high energy formulation. So on to shelf life. In our experience, Salmico milk protein demonstrates excellent physical stability and sensory stability throughout shelf life. Today I can demonstrate to you a high protein nutritional beverage made using Salmico milk protein isolate with very good shelf life stability. Even after 12 months ambient storage, product maintains very good appearance, is homogeneous, with no evidence of sediment on the bottom of the bottle. Physical stability issues on storage can arise for protein powders with poor functionality, resulting in sediment and poor appearance on storage. We have very positive sensory data for our range of milk protein isolates and concentrates. Our Solmico milk proteins demonstrate very clean flavour profile with cooked, milky and sweet aromatic notes being present, low levels of cardboard notes and off notes such as fatty and soapy notes not being detected. The clean flavour of Solmico milk proteins can be compared to alternatives such as caseinates and plant proteins, which can report presence of bitter and cereal notes or gritty and grainy mouthfeel. Solmico milk protein is a complete protein, naturally rich in all 9 essential amino acids, containing both casein and whey protein in the 80-20 ratio naturally found in milk. Glambi Solmico milk protein powders are naturally high in calcium and phosphorus and could remove or reduce the need for additional mineral fortification and stability challenges which coincide with such fortifications. At Glambi Ireland, we have vast experience in fresh pasteurised and UHT long-life milks and beverages. We are currently in the process of renovating our Innovation Centre and pilot plant facilities. This new Innovation Centre opens later in 2021 and will deliver state-of-the-art technology with a processing area and a pilot plant which will enable high throughput prototyping for new products and solutions. To summarise, today I have demonstrated the functionality benefits of Glambi milk protein powders in terms of very good dispersibility, excellent solubility, superior heat stability, low viscosity before and after heat treatment, excellent shelf life stability in application, clean sensory profile, and excellent nutritional composition. Solmico milk protein is a one-stop protein source, removing the need for multiple protein sources to achieve functionality, shelf life, sensory and nutritional benefits in application. Thank you for joining us today. Now I will hand you over to Barry, our development chef.
Hello, my name is Barry Foley. I am the development chef with Glambi Ireland, and it's a pleasure to be with you today. Grania has just demonstrated the functionality of Solmico milk proteins in the manufacturing process. I will now take this demonstration into some specific applications. Protein intakes should be spread across the day to ensure the constant supply needed for optimal muscle protein synthesis. It is recommended to consume 20 to 30 grams of protein at each meal depending on age. Today, I will demonstrate ways to use Solmico milk protein powder and Solmico fortified high protein milk to create high protein foods which can be consumed as part of a normal diet. The first recipe I want to demonstrate is a simple high protein dessert. It's made with just 4 ingredients: ground flax, frozen raspberries, milk, full fat or protein milk work well, and Solmico milk protein powder. You could add some honey if you want to add some extra sweetness. Start by putting the flax and berries into a bowl and blend together. As you can see, the Solmico is really easy to handle, which makes it easy to use. It disperses well throughout the mix. Because Solmico has excellent solubility properties, it rehydrates quickly into the milk and other ingredients and is easily incorporated into the mixture. This raspberry protein whip can be eaten as a dessert or even as a breakfast. It can be sweetened up with honey or sugar to suit your taste. The next recipe I want to demonstrate is a fish chowder, which is made using high protein milk. Avonmore protein milk is fortified with Solmico milk protein. Sauté the bacon and onions for a few minutes. Add in the flour and stir to form a roux. Gradually add the fish stock and then the protein milk and diced potatoes. Solmico milk protein displays excellent heat stability. There is no separation of the protein while simmering in the pan, indicating this heat stability. A delicious and light fish chowder packed with nourishment suitable for lunch or dinner. For my final demonstration, I want to show how something as simple as a coffee can be made into a high protein drink. Start by brewing the coffee of your choice. While the coffee is brewing, add the protein milk to an aerochino and froth. If you don't have an aerochino, this can be replicated by heating the milk in the microwave and vigorously whisking with a small whisk. The Avonmore protein milk froths very well, and due to the stability of the Solmico milk proteins, the foam is very stable. Due to its functional properties, Solmico milk proteins are easily incorporated into everyday recipes, which make it easy to get protein into all meals and snacks throughout the day. Thank you very much for your time today, and thanks for watching. Now I will hand you over to Noel Larkin, Market Research and Insights.
Hello everybody, and welcome to this webinar session, The Importance of Protein Functionality. My name is Noel Larkin. I'm head of the Market Research and Insights team at Glambi Ireland. For the next 5 to 10 minutes or so, we're going to walk through some initial contextual data from Innova on the dairy protein market and the various categories of interest. The data is drawn from the Innova database, unless stated otherwise, for product launch activity. The geographies focused on are US, Europe and Asia in the time frame of 2016 to 2020. We're focusing on 5 categories: food, beverages, sports nutrition, clinical nutrition and healthy aging. There are 2 underlying factors that are driving demand for high protein products. Firstly, to support an increasingly active lifestyle for the health conscious generation, and secondly, on the other end of the spectrum, to address the challenges of malnutrition amongst elderly consumers. It's estimated that in Europe alone, 33 million people are at risk of developing poor or inadequate nutrition, with those aged over 65 and cancer patients at the greatest risk. We've seen an unprecedented growth in protein consumption over the last number of years. It's had a huge impact on the sports nutrition and clinical nutrition markets. Increasingly, it's been included more and more in other category portfolios. The popularity of all things protein has helped with the continued growth also of the snacking sector. Consumers are still widely engaged with animal-based proteins. For those that have implemented active change in protein consumption, more consumers are increasing rather than reducing their consumption in this area. Young men are heavily engaged protein consumers and an important audience for brands to retain. Not only are young men eating protein the most often, they're most likely to be increasing their consumption. In this, health and wellness is the catalyst to increase protein consumption, which is accelerated during the COVID-19 pandemic, pointing to strong ties between protein and a healthy diet. Although also important are satiety, using it more at mealtime and experimentation with different meat types. There is strong evidence of dairy protein expansion into specialised nutrition categories. As you can see here, due to the size of the category, food accounts for the highest number of product launches with dairy protein ingredients at 63% of launches. The decline that we see in the graph is due to the proliferation of protein into other categories. There is still 2% CAGR growth in protein launches in food from 2016 to 2020. With sports nutrition next on 21%, similarly with a CAGR growth of plus 16% over the same time period. Across the board protein launches, CAGR growth is very strong, with the largest rise observed in the healthy aging category, although this increase is coming from a very small base. The data indicates that protein is still a growing category and is increasing in prevalence outside of clinical and sports nutrition into other adjacent categories such as functional foods, beverages and healthy aging. Also, we've included here the various consumer benefits that are important for the respective product categories. Muscle mass and maintenance, along with the exercise recovery, are the key themes in the sports nutrition market, while taste, satiety and energy are potentially important call-outs in the beverage sector. Most notable trend in functional claims is a strong increase in protein call-outs. A growing number of product launches are observed with explicit communication about the protein content as the key contributory factor in purchase decisions. For claim behaviour, there's a movement back to natural functional benefits. As you can see, an increase in protein claims from 23% in 2016 to 35% in 2020. A 50% increase in 4 years. Beyond protein, fibre claims are also surging. To bring that to life, it's interesting on the right-hand side that a standard chocolate bar, as you can see here, such as Snickers, is calling out its protein content. And Dr. Utker launched a protein-enriched pudding where the protein call-out dominates the pack. Also a chocolate bar in Germany with a clear link to protein. I'm conscious there's a lot of data on this slide, but the key takeout is that milk-based protein continues to be the primary source of protein. The protein boom has innovators in search of new protein sources, and the demand for protein is growing so fast as diversifying as new plant protein sources emerge, with potato, pea and rice showing the strongest growth figures, albeit from a very small market base, while soy continues to be the dominant source of plant protein, although still notably behind milk proteins. The consumer comments on the right have listed that health is a high priority for shoppers. Snacking has raised the consumption of protein, while a third of men are influenced by brands when making a protein selection. MPC and MPI both provide protein and functionality to food and beverages, with the main difference being that MPI has the highest protein levels and lower lactose levels. Whereas launches with milk protein isolate have stabilised, as you can see, milk protein concentrates on the rise. Beverages and clinical nutrition account for the highest share of milk protein concentrate, whereas sports nutrition accounts for the highest share of milk protein isolate. Thank you for listening, and I hope you found it informative. Now I'll hand you over to John.
Thanks, Noel. I'm John O'Donnell, Head of Specialised Nutrition, and I'm going to tell you a bit more about Glambi Ireland and what we have to offer. Farming in Ireland's luscious green pasture lands dates back thousands of years. Of course, our history doesn't go back quite that far, but Glambi has emerged from its deep cooperative roots through a series of amalgamations and mergers to become Ireland's largest dairy ingredients company. Glambi Ireland is a global name in food and nutrition, exporting to over 100 countries globally, and we partner with some of the world's leading food brands. Through sustainable farming practices and dedicated partnerships with farmers from multi-generational farming families, we produce the highest quality ingredients in state-of-the-art facilities using cutting-edge technologies. Ireland's island location on the western edge of Europe provides it with a temperate climate, plentiful rainfall and rich deep soils perfect for growing grass. Our milk production is pasture-based, with cows spending 250 days per year on grass. We also have the longest growing season in the Northern Hemisphere, which means we can operate in a more sustainable and environmentally friendly manner. To ensure the products and ingredients we create are of the highest quality, we maintain control and oversight of our entire supply chain, ensuring full traceability from grassland to customer. We are an ingredient solutions partner at the forefront of ingredient technology, and we offer a range of solutions to match the ever-changing demands of the food and nutrition industry and its consumers. With quality dairy sourced from 5,000 Irish family farms, combined with advanced market research and insights, our unique platform offers fully traceable and sustainably produced natural solutions to help our customers stay ahead of the curve. We are the largest manufacturer in Europe of milk proteins, and our bespoke range is available in a wide portfolio to suit all needs. Our milk proteins are gently processed using innovative membrane filtration technology to retain the nutritional value of the milk while ensuring food safety standards. Solmico is our range of advanced milk proteins, isolates and concentrates. It's a good source of native micellar casein and whey proteins in the same ratio as found naturally in milk. In addition to its low bacterial and spore counts, it has excellent flavour, solubility, heat stability and is rich in calcium. Solmico also has a wide range of lower lactose milk powders, which offer great milk taste and nutritional properties and can help you to produce low or reduced lactose products. Solago is our range of functional dairy proteins. Solago HD offers superior dispersibility and higher bulk density. The range includes mineral modified milk proteins designed for improved functionality, better solubility and as a replacement for casein or caseinate across a number of applications. Our milk proteins are suitable for use in clinical, infant and lifestyle nutrition, as well as low lactose, protein fortified and fresh dairy applications. You will be able to meet all your functionality needs with Solmico and Solago milk proteins. Thank you very much for your time today. Now I'll pass you back to Eve for our live Q&A session.
Hi, this is Eve speaking. We've had a number of questions come in throughout the course of this webinar, And just as a reminder, everybody who has attended this webinar or registered will receive a link to watch it on demand. So we've had a huge response rate in terms of questions, and just maybe pick some of the most common questions that have arisen. We will ask the first one, so a really interesting one. So what type of applications can milk proteins be used in and are suitable for? So I might ask my colleague Grania, so passing over to you, Grania, what do you feel like are the best applications to get the most from milk proteins?
Thank you, Eve. And I think this is a really, really good question to kick off our Q&A session today. So as we have demonstrated for you today, Glambi milk proteins demonstrate excellent functionality in process, in product, and also in the final application as demonstrated for you by Barry. It is really a combination of this excellent functionality, this excellent sensory quality and nutritional profile that makes our Glambi milk proteins suitable across a wide range of applications. These include beverages, so fresh beverages and long life beverages, high protein beverages, but also more complex nutritional formulations such as meal replacement products and also clinical nutrition beverages and clinical nutrition products. Our milk proteins are also suitable in ready to mix nutritional applications, nutritional powder applications, but also in child nutrition products such as follow-on milks and growing up milks. In addition, we have vast experience for the application of our milk proteins into high protein food products such as yogurts, ice creams, ambient yogurt products, ambient drinking yogurts, puddings, and also other dessert style applications. In addition, our milk proteins are suitable for use in processed cheese applications, but also in bakery applications, giving the examples of high protein brownies and high protein cookies. So really, to summarize, our milk proteins are suitable across a very wide range of applications. But if any of our viewers today have a particular application of interest, please reach out to us and we will see how we can support you further. Thanks, Eve.
Great. Thanks, Grania. So the next question that we have is actually it's a really interesting one. And it looks at basically the crossover between healthy aging and clinical nutrition. So it's coming in and it's asking, is clinical nutrition a growing category? And what is the crossover between healthy aging and clinical nutrition?
I can answer that one. Yeah, sure. So look, Noel referenced already that the clinical market has been growing strongly. And one of the main drivers of this is the aging population. So most people around the world can now expect to live into their 60s, 70s and beyond. I think by 2050, the statistics are saying that there'll be over 2 billion people over the age of 60 in the world. So alongside this aging population, there's an increasing awareness of the role that nutrition can play and does play in health. And that's among healthcare professionals and among the wider population as well. Clinical products, we know they can support shorter stays in hospital, more home treatments, and these things take the pressure off hospitals. And so it's being supported by healthcare professionals. So yeah, the category is growing and it's expected to continue to grow.
Okay. And look, we have another question coming in there. So from a Glambi Ireland perspective, what is the portfolio of milk proteins that we offer? So we actually do offer a full range of milk protein solutions depending on your needs. So we have our Solmico brand, which is used in nutritional applications, has exceptional heat stability, as Grania has outlined. It's produced in a range of protein contents and also lactose contents, depending on the end requirement of your application. We also have our Solago brand, which is used in a lot of essential dairy applications. And this could include, for example, Greek style yogurt applications, ice creams, a lot of dessert style, which are looking to give a protein boost from a nutritional perspective in everyday items. And really, it's about spreading the consumption of protein throughout the day for the consumer. So, fortifying existing products with that little bit of protein to give a better for you nutritional claim. So we do have a range. They start from milk protein concentrates with a protein content of 80% and greater, all the way up into milk protein isolates and even higher proteins. So we are happy to answer any questions in relation to our full portfolio. And if you do have anything specific that you're looking for, you can really reach us at solutions@glambia.ie. So we have just another question after popping in, and again, quite topical at the moment. And this is, what impact do we see plant proteins having on milk proteins in the future? So Noel, hopefully you might be able to hear me. Is that okay? I might pass that one to you.
Yeah, uh,
Thanks.
happy to take that one. Yeah, look at it. As we saw on the data slides earlier, milk-based proteins are definitely, still the prominent player in the protein space. So while plant-based proteins options are broadening using kind of wider ingredients that we saw, such as obviously soy being the main one, but also pea, potato, and rice are picking up some use as well in terms of the protein space. So it's quite interesting that demand is broadening for that. But there's still a huge demand for protein out there. I mean, in the US, for example, 1 in 4 consumers said they're trying to increase their protein intake. So it just shows you the huge opportunity and possibilities within the market. I think we saw as well the use of protein is transitioning into broader categories, so where, the kind of solid spaces at the start were very much around sports and clinical nutrition. It's definitely expanding into, as we saw, into healthy aging, food and beverages as well. And look at that beyond into adjacent categories as well. So I think there's a very strong role for both in there. And I suppose in the future, I probably anticipate maybe growing focus on protein quality as well.
That's actually quite interesting, because there is a question that's after coming in, which is maybe linked in relation to protein quality, but it's actually addressing or looking at what could the next innovation beyond just protein be. Noel, I'm not too sure. Do you want to maybe take that one as well? So the next
Yeah, no,
innovation beyond
absolutely happy to
protein.
do that. Yeah. Yeah, I suppose it's probably no harm in kind of, looking lens backwards as well. Plant-based innovation so far has focused kind of very much on replicating sensory elements. Yeah, in such as taste, such as texture and other mouthfeel, etc. Um, and I suppose very much so traditionally in the familiar formats like burgers, sausages, nuggets. So I think the next frontier is definitely improving meat alternative nutrition proposition and expanding format. So protein quality and quantity are still going to be important attributes. However, as meat alternatives up their protein content, I do expect the conversation in time to shift from protein to overall nutritional density. So this means looking at the overall nutritional profile in terms of macro, micronutrients per number of calories and evaluating the quality of these nutrients. And also a consideration, I mean, further down the line as well is, the potential and the launch of lab-grown meats as well is going to be an interesting experiment in the market as well. And human consumption, first human consumption was allowed in Singapore. So, certainly in time we'll see that presence in retail shelf growing and increasing. Obviously, that's probably a little bit more of a longer time frame, probably more 3 to 5 years.
So yeah, it's interesting to see the horizon outlook for protein, and maybe even the influence of COVID and others on that outlook. And definitely it's a dynamic industry. I think we have just one question here, and it's in relation to our grass-based systems. So on this one, again, just to see it there. So might maybe John. So grass fed is becoming more widely available in terms of its term and its usage globally. So in Ireland, or basically the Irish-based pasture system, which Glambi Ireland is based in, how is that different for delivering grass-fed dairy?
In Ireland, I suppose our natural grassland environment makes up 80% of the agricultural land which we have in the country. And our climate here, this temperate climate that we have on the western side of Europe, facilitates that our dairy herd is out on pasture for 250 days of the year or more in some regions. So this supports a very carbon efficient dairy production, and Ireland is the most carbon efficient dairy producer in the EU because we don't create and import feeds for the cattle. Grass-based production of milk is cost effective, it's environmentally friendly, and it's the most natural way in which to feed a dairy herd. We recognise the importance of soil health, of grassland management, of regenerative agriculture. We know that our suppliers also recognise that. And so together with them, we've developed nutrient management plans which support the continuing efficiency in the way in which we produce milk from grass. Optimizing our natural grass production, keeping the herd healthy, and keeping them grazing in their natural environment is how we're supporting our farmers and supporting the grass-fed protocols that we have. And if somebody's got a particular interest in how we do it in Glambi, you could look at our truly grass-fed range. And our Solmico products are available in the truly grass-fed range. And you can find that information, Eve. I'm sure you can put a link to the Truly Grass-Fed website so that people can see all the elements of how we have built that brand and what it stands for.
Yes, absolutely. So we can maybe circulate that afterwards, after this webinar, along with the link to the on-demand version. And just again, another really interesting question that came in that I might tackle myself. So it's Glambi Ireland is obviously based in Ireland in County Kilkenny, but do our technical team work with products and flavors, etc., from other regions such as Asia, the Middle East? And really, it's one of the exciting projects that we're launching this year is our new innovation centre, which will house 60 plus scientists that are basically working with formulations from a global perspective, all over the world, and all of those unique needs based in market. So yes, absolutely is the answer to that question, and it's something that we're extremely proud of, working with our customers to find bespoke solutions for their needs based on where they're at and what their customer wants. So if that's something that's of interest, again, contact details are solutions@glambia.ie. So we've had several questions, I would say, maybe even several hundred questions come in over the course of this webinar. We really hope that we've covered some of the topical points on this live Q&A session, and we'll reach out to those that we didn't have the time to go through on this call today. We'll follow up with you afterwards. In the meantime, if there's any more questions that you wish to ask, please pop them in the chat and we can follow you afterwards. And I really thank you for your time, for experiencing this webinar with us. Thank you, and again, thanks to the team which would have presented today. Much appreciated. And again, if you want to contact us, it's solutions@glambia.ie.